Hello? Yes, hi Jonathan. Rent. Oh, see about that. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Ndeye10. If you are tuned in today, you're going to be seeing a first impressions, a review, a wear test, as well as swatches of the darkest 4 shades of the new Pat McGrath Foundation. I know y'all did not come here for a long intro, so make sure you go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright guys, so I am back. I did go ahead and do my eyes off camera because you guys are not here for that. Y'all want to see the foundation, and bam, here it is. So here is the Pat McGrath Labs Foundation. This was a whopping 68 $. Okay, 68, almost 100, like 3/4 of 100. This was super expensive. So what I want to do first is tell you guys what the foundation claims to do, as well as give you guys some details that a lot of people are not saying. So number one, if you want to buy this foundation and you are on a budget, I highly suggest that you actually get it on Pat McGrath's website. Why? Number one, because you can get 10% off, and number two, because Pat McGrath's website actually does something called Affirm. If you have heard of Afterpay, it is another program such as that. You get 2 to 3 payments or 3 to 4 payments in order to pay off the actual foundation. So let's say you want to go ahead and you want to buy it and you don't have the $68 up hand, you can go on her website and you can purchase it for $23, and then you would owe an additional $23 every month until you pay it off. It is interest free. You don't have to do anything with your credit. I have used Afterpay before, and I've also used Affirm, and I highly suggest it, especially if you are someone, like I said, that's on a budget. You know, for example, you get paid every 2 weeks, but you just don't want to cough up the amount of money that this costs in one setting. Definitely get it off of her website instead of getting it off of Sephora. What you can do though is go into Sephora, get samples, figure out your shade, and then buy it from Pat McGrath's website. So you'll be paying $68, but 10% off, whatever that amount is, divided by 3 months. That's how long you have to make your payment. So what I did is I purchased Deep 34, and then I do have samples from Sephora of the last 3 shades. So I have Deep 33, Deep 34, 35, and 36. This foundation is sheer to medium coverage, which is super new for me. I usually go for more medium to full coverage foundations, but because Auntie Pat is a makeup artist, she does make skin look like skin, so I think this foundation definitely goes with her. One thing that I wanted to know as well is that this foundation claims to be good for all skin types, which I think is a big claim to make. For me, I'm going to say that I'm combination oily, so I have some dry spots, but for the most part I do have oily skin. This foundation within itself looks super bougie, so you go ahead and you open it up. It has the name of the shade as well on the top, and then all of the ingredients on the back. And then once you open it, you have the foundation which pulls out. Don't go by what the shades look like when you look at the bottle because of the frosting packaging. When I first saw the foundation line, I was like, that's how deep it goes, that's it. I did not think that it was going to be dark enough, and then I went out to eat, and a waiter who actually is into makeup was just like, it goes deep, girl. So I believe him, don't believe the frosting bottle. Now I'm going to go ahead and get into the swatches. For the swatches, I'm just going to go from lightest to darkest. The first one that I am swatching is Deep 33. Next, I'm going in with Deep 34, which is the one that I personally purchased for myself. So you do see the change in color, and even when I'm applying the swatches on my chest, it is very sheer, like I'm trying to build it on. But it might also be that way for this one because it is my actual complexion. Let me zoom you guys out a little bit. So I went ahead and zoomed you guys out a little bit just so you can see more. So Deep 34 again is more of my complexion, so you can't really see it. We have Deep 33. Next we have Deep 35. For me personally, I was choosing between these two because I couldn't figure out which one would be my actual shade. And then the last shade we're gonna go in with is Deep 36, which is the darkest shade that she offers. This is beautiful. So I zoomed you guys out a lot just so you can see a little bit more. So again, we have 33, 34, 35, 36. I'm definitely happy that I went in with 34 because as you guys can see, it's almost blended completely into my skin. There is a little bit of a jump between 33 and 34. 33 is a little bit more orange and is definitely much lighter than 34. If you want to see what the shades above this one looks like, I highly suggest, this is eyeliner, I highly suggest you go and you look at Jackie's video, which I will link down below because she does have the shades above. And then the darkest shade, this is pretty rich. I feel like I could potentially even go in with this as a contour. So for 35 and 34, there are slight differences. I would say that 34 is literally like a shade darker than 34. I could go in with either one, to be honest, which is a really, really good thing. I do wish that it was a little darker and that there was another shade in between, but you know, we're gonna go ahead and start it off. And I feel like because she's a makeup artist, she probably created foundations that you can just mix in together to get different shades. So what I'm going to do is first zoom you guys back in. For my skin prep, I'm gonna do whatever I would normally do, just because since I do have oily skin, I want to make sure that I give this foundation a fair shot. So I'm going to use oil controlling mattifying primers. So the first one I just went in with is the Swatches Silk Canvas, and then in my T-zone area I am going to apply the Becca Ever Matte Poreless Perfecting Primer. So let me go ahead and apply those primers and let them set in, and then I'll be back to apply the foundation. So what I'm doing now is I'm just applying a little bit of powder underneath the foundation, just because I really want to make sure that it can last on top of my skin. I've never done this before, but drastic needs call for drastic measures, okay? We're gonna do this because with every review that I've seen, everyone is saying how luminous it is, and I just want to try to make it work as much as possible. I'm not applying a thick layer. So now that we did the powder, we did the primer, we're gonna go ahead and get into the foundation. I'm gonna be applying this foundation in two ways. One way is I'm going to be using a dense brush, which is what I would normally do. And then on the other side, I am going to go ahead and use this sponge, just because in case you guys like to wear your makeup in different ways, I wanna see how both of them apply the makeup, how they blend it, and how they build it. So I am gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna do the right side of my face. I'm gonna go ahead and squirt out 2 pumps. And just in feeling it before I apply it to my face, it feels extremely watery. If you guys have the NARS Luminous Weightless Foundation, it literally feels just like that. And I'm just gonna dot it everywhere. All right, so now that it is applied on one side of my face, I'm going to press it in. It is a bit red. I feel like it's really red actually. Okay, so I feel like for me, this shade is great. This is a good shade for me. I'm actually loving the way that it's looking on my skin, and I honestly, if I'm gonna be 100% real with you guys, I did not expect to like the way that it looks. But it looks super luminous, but I also don't look oily. It blended out really nicely. It moved really nicely, but also again, it's really thin. So like the way that it moves is good. My skin isn't perfect right now. I have like little breakouts, but it's not exposing my texture as much. So this could be a combination of that primer as well as powdering before applying the foundation, but she's looking good. So this is the side with foundation and the side without foundation. Don't mind that demarcation line. Sis had to move the scarf back a little bit. Now we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take 2 more pumps, and I'm gonna apply it with my fingers and then blend this side out with the beauty blender, or not the beauty blender, the beauty sponge. So far, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below how you feel about this shade. I definitely think I went with the right shade. Honestly, what I think it is that I used a little bit too much of it. I feel like I should have started off with 1 pump and then went from there, but it's still working out. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take the Dark Skin Makeup Daily Sponge and just go ahead and bounce it in on my skin. Okay, so this is the side that I use the sponge for. I do notice a slight difference in the coverage. I feel like when I use the brush, the coverage was more full, but when I use the sponge, it kind of blended out just a little bit. So I'm gonna take 1 more pump, and then I'm going to blend this in with this foundation brush. Hold on, it's a little splotchy. Or is that me? Okay. So I just went ahead and zoomed you guys in as much as possible just so you can see what the skin is looking like. So again, remember, I started off with the sponge on this side, but I had to go back over it with the beauty, or not with the beauty, but with a brush, just because the coverage wasn't as good. So to me, the most you can get is medium coverage, and I did 2 pumps, basically 2.5 pumps on each side, and I still didn't give me full coverage. And I don't mind that, but if you are someone that struggles with like a skin condition and you really like makeup to have more coverage, this is definitely not going to be the one for you. It doesn't look too luminous on me. Like, I don't feel like I look super oily or super greasy. I definitely feel like I see a little bit of shine when I turn. So for my concealer, I'm going to go in with the NARS Luminous Weightless Concealer, just because this also is super creamy. It has some coverage, but it's not as thick as some of the other concealers that I have, which I do like. So that first shade was Cacao, and I'm going to put a little bit of hazelnut on top just to brighten it. And then I'm going to go ahead and spray my face. So I am going to go ahead and set my under eye area. I did already blend back into it again in order to avoid any creasing. And I'm going to set this first before I do my contour, just because this is a luminous foundation and it's a luminous concealer that I used as well. I just don't want a chance of super getting creasy. So I'm just going in with the Fenty powder, and this one is in the shade Nutmeg. And I'm just going to apply this. I need to put some more out, but I'm just applying this to all of the areas where I already put concealer. So in case you're wondering, like, sis, why are you using your own powder? Pat came out with her own. I gotta pay rent, sis. Rent was due August 1st, therefore I had to pick which product I wanted the most, and it was the foundation. I don't think I'll get the powder, to be quite honest with you, just because I really do love, excuse the car. I don't think I'll get the powder, just to be honest with you guys, because I really do love the powders that I already have, and I feel like they complement a lot of different foundations. So if you're on the hunt for a powder and you don't want to get the Pat McGrath one because it's a little too expensive, I would definitely say try the Fenty Beauty one. And they also come in minis so that you can save a coin, pay your rent, buy your groceries, pay your light bill, do whatever it is that you have to do. And if you guys notice, I didn't bake. I just pressed it in until it melted down into my skin. Now I'm gonna go ahead and contour. And for my contour today, what we using? Now I'm gonna go in with the Pure 4-in-1 Selfie, and this is in the shade DPP6. And I'm gonna use this shade to contour. Now this shade is very deep and it blends really easily, so you don't wanna go in with too much of a heavy hand. Less is more. And we're gonna be chiseled. Now once I've applied the contour, I'm just going to go ahead and blend out the harsh edges with the same foundation brush that I went in with already. So instead of setting my contour with a contour powder, I'm actually going to set it with a bronzer, and today I'm going to be using the Lip Bars bronzer in the shade Staycation. And I'm going to use a Benefit bronzer brush. I'm going to tap off the excess. Love this shade. Now I'm going to go in with my Maybelline powder in the shade Dark 40, and I'm just going to blend out my entire face. And this is the final step for me when it comes to how I am going to set it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and spray my face down. Cover these eyes. Guys, I don't know about y'all, but yo, I am feeling this. Like, wow. I feel like my skin looks flawless. we're going to do the wear test. I'm going to do my blush and highlighter off camera because I feel like you guys more so want to see what products I'm using to complement the foundation, and that's concealer, contour, and like powders. But my skin looks beautiful. And I'm gonna keep it all the way real. I thought I wasn't gonna like it. Sis, I was ready to return this to Sephora if it did not do what the girls needed it to do, but she did what I needed her to do. Like, I am thoroughly impressed with just the finish of it and the way everything melts. So let me go ahead and finish my face off camera. I'm gonna come here, show you guys what it looks like. I'll do the wear test and I'll come back to give you guys my final thoughts and opinions as well as the pros and cons. But sis, I mean, alright guys, so I did go ahead and finish my makeup and I am back with you all. So me personally, let me get more censor. I am loving this look. I'm gonna go ahead and wear it for a bit. One thing that I will say before I even go ahead and go off is that it did start creasing around my smile lines. I guess I was smiling too much, but I honestly wasn't, so that was a little off. I did go ahead and just use the bottom of the beauty blender to press it in a little bit more. I didn't add more powder just because I don't want to adjust the makeup too much. I wanted to really sit in and let you guys see what it looks like. So I am gonna go ahead and go on with my day. I'll be back for a check-in. This is not going to be an 8-hour wear test just because it is already a little late, but I'll probably wear it for about 4 or 5 hours, and then I'll come back and let you guys know my final thoughts and opinions. I am going to zoom you in just so you can see the skin as close as possible. So this is what the skin is looking like. Listen, FaceTime is free. Phone calls are free. I just bought this new Pat McGrath Foundation. I'm not spending no money. Sorry. I'm so sorry about it. FaceTime is free. You don't have to pay for nothing, honey. Alright guys, so it is officially 2 a.m. I am super exhausted and I have been wearing this foundation since around 7:30. As you guys can see, and I did zoom in a little bit, I look really oily. I almost want to say greasy, and it's kind of crazy to me because it started raining really bad, so I didn't even go outside. So this is from me just being inside the house. I went out only one time, but it was literally down the block, so it wasn't as much activity as I expected to do. And we lost the earring and I don't feel like looking for it. But let's go ahead and get into the pros and the cons. So for the first pro, I would definitely say that the foundation itself is a very beautiful finish. If you are someone that doesn't like to wear a lot of makeup, you want something to look like it's your skin, you don't want anybody to be able to clock you and see that you're wearing foundation, then this is definitely something that you're going to like. Another pro is going to be the consistency of the foundation. I do like how thin it is. It's kind of hot in my apartment. I was doing some things around the house and I've kind of been hot, but I don't really feel like I have on foundation. Now let's talk about the cons. The first con for me is going to be the shade range. While I did have a foundation that I thought matched me perfectly and one underneath that, I feel like there was a jump from shade 33 into shade 34, and then I feel like the last shade 36 is deep, but I don't think it's deep. Like, I feel like it could be a little deeper. I don't think that it will work for my sister, for example, who is a few complexions darker than me. I'm hoping that she will extend the foundation range in the future. I feel like if she adds maybe 4 or 5 more shades to the darker end, it will definitely be more of a variant. And I don't know what the shades above 33 look like, but based on Jackie's video, I'm assuming that there also are jumps. The second con for me is just going to be the way that it looks after a few hours. So I haven't worn this foundation for 8 hours. It's only been 6 to 7 hours, and for me personally, when I go to work, I'm out the door at 7 a.m. and I don't get back until 5 or 6, so this will not hold up at all if I was going to work. And even if I was outside during the summer, I also don't think it will hold up. And I use 2 primers that usually really help to keep my oil and my shine down, so that tells me that this foundation definitely will pop out. So if you are someone with oily skin, I do not think that you're going to like this foundation, unless of course you find a better concoction or a better primer to go with it that is going to help you with keeping your oils down. My third con is going to be that after 1 hour of wearing it, my smile lines were creasing, and I feel like for me that's just something that doesn't usually happen. I don't notice creases really quickly, so I feel like the product itself, it breaks up a little bit, not consistently because I don't see product break up all over my face, but definitely in areas where you tend to crease, you're going to see the product break down a little bit no matter how much you set it, because I did set it with 2 barriers of powder from my setting powder and then my all over face setting powder as well. The next con is going to be something that I'm not sure if it's as a result of the foundation or if it's based on my technique, because I did use a new sponge today and I put powder before my foundation, which I never do. But something that I noticed as I was going through the footage is that, and not only as I was going through the footage, but even as I was doing my highlighter, is that certain parts of the face were patchier than others and it wasn't all blending seamlessly into one. I don't want to blame that on a foundation because, like I said, I didn't do my normal prep for the foundation. I did a little bit extra in order to avoid it looking super oily and super greasy on my skin. So I definitely think you guys should watch other tutorials to see if other YouTubers are complaining about that, or if you yourself see as they're applying it, it's looking splotchy and it's not blending all the way. Another pro that I'll add is that it is buildable only up to a medium coverage. So that could be a con and a pro. If you don't like that much coverage, that's a pro for you, but if you like full coverage, that's going to be a con. I don't think you can build it beyond just medium coverage, or I was not able to do that for myself. So the last thing that I want to touch on is going to be the price point. Now for me with this, I have a very stern stance, and that is that I'm not going to say that Pat McGrath's foundation or her makeup line is too expensive or is not worth it, because it could just not be in my budget. I feel like if we don't look at YSL or Givenchy and we don't necessarily come at the brands because of the price point, then I'm not going to come at a black owned luxury brand, because it is a luxury brand, so you're going to pay a luxury price. So I feel like the best way to look at it is, can you afford the luxury item or not? For me personally, there's a lot of luxury items I cannot afford, therefore I stay within my lane, I stay within my budget, okay? So you just have to be aware of that for yourself and see if it's something you want to budget for or not. For me personally, my overall thoughts is I'm going to use it one more time, and if I don't like the way that it blends, then I am going to return it, just because for me personally $68 is a lot of money, and like I said, I'm not going to say it's too expensive, but that's higher than the budget that I would want for a foundation. Therefore, if I'm going to spend $68 on it, it needs to do what I need it to do. Like, I need it to be a certain way, I need it to act a certain way, I need it to hold up a certain way, because $68 for me for a foundation is a lot. It might not be a lot for you. So I'm going to try this again and see how it works. I'm going to do it with my normal face routine just to see how it holds up. Overall though, I did really love the finish when I first finished applying everything. When I had my powders and my skin was just set, I felt like it looked beautiful. But as I wore the foundation and as I'm having it sit on, I'm not really 100% in love with it. And that's why I think it's so important moving forward when I do foundation reviews to also do wear tests, because you can love something when you first finish, but if you haven't sat in it, if you haven't moved in it, if you haven't done things in it, you're not going to really know what it feels like. So I want you guys to go ahead and let me know your thoughts and opinions. Have you looked at the foundation? Are you going to buy it? Do you want to get samples? Do you agree with the pros and cons that I stated? Let me know all of your opinions down in the comment section down below. Make sure you go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed it. I love you guys so much, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye. So because I have to film my outro, I did go ahead and apply some powder on top of it just to get the oils down. And I mean, it looks better now that the oil is gone. The foundation is definitely beautiful. Like, I really want to make sure I emphasize the fact that it's beautiful. I just think that it's not going to work for my skin type, because it looks good now. It looks flawless now. But I need it to look flawless for a longer period of time, because when I'm at work, I can't blot in between periods. I'm a teacher. My kid's going to be like, "Miss, your foundation is melting. What's going on? Where's the rest of your face?" And I cannot afford that. So I really love having long wearing foundations. But if it was something where I was going somewhere, let's say for a quick hour or two, and I just wanted my skin to be really natural, I could see myself wearing it. But this is what it looks like once I've powdered on top. So just make the best decision for yourself. Do your research, look into different video tutorials, look at different people who have your skin type, your skin complexion, and just see what the overall consensus is. And worst comes to worst, or best comes to best, just go to Sephora and get a sample and try it for yourself.